Hello and welcome to the 37 Minutes of Heaven we call the D1Baseball.com podcast. I am your host, Michael Patrick Rooney. I am joined by the newly appointed mayor of Asheville, North Carolina, Aaron Fitzy, how are you?
Okay, Runes. I'm okay.
He looks like a mayor. I almost went in my room and found like an old tux or something with the way he's
Listen,
dressed.
this is how weekend getaways work during college baseball season. I meet my wife in Asheville on a Monday night, and we're going to work remotely from a hotel room for 2 days and find some time to
Nice.
go out to dinner. So that's that's how
Good for
weekends
you.
work.
Look at you, dedication.
Yeah.
I like
Well,
it.
I'm on my way back from Tuscaloosa. It's like it's on the way. So let's do it.
Let's do it. Kendall, how are you? Tex, if you will.
I'm doing pretty good. I cannot complain. We've got some nasty weather about an hour north of here, but I'm hoping we'll get through the night without any major issues. So it's good.
Excellent. We've got a big agenda, but we're going to go
Okay.
fast. This is Turbo Zone today. The podcast is brought to you by Mountain Dew. Mountain Dew, no, I'm just kidding. It's a great ad, though. Mountain Dew, do the do.
No free ads.
No. Mountain Dew, if you're listening, you want a little more of that, don't you? We're brought to you by the D1 Players Society. Those folks continue to do great work. But, gentlemen, let's get into it. Okay. So I've made an executive decision on behalf of all of college baseball, and I hope you will support me in this. Here's what I've decided. If you are going to be in our home run race this year, if you're going to be a contender to win the home run championship title, if you will, in college baseball, you must have either a power nickname or a power hashtag. And I will not, I'm zero tolerance on this policy. Do you guys support me in that?
Absolutely.
Sure.
All right. So
It's not an issue I'm probably very passionate about. So sure.
yeah, Kendall, I'm going to MP your conviction level right there. So all right, so let's go through it. We're going to talk through the ones that we already have. Jake Gelof he's got 12 bombs. Stowe State Gelof, that's locked and loaded.
I
Brad
feel like we
Mound.
can find something better than State Gelof, by the way.
No, you can't because he hit the damn steak, the bull to win the steak. It's so good. It's so good.
Yeah, and it feels like an actual meal, like steak Gelof. It feels like it's like that might be the special tonight.
Did you guys see the picture of him when he hit the home run on Sunday and he's just like like that? Like I don't know.
He's photogenic.
He's in the Jordan zone. Remember when like Jordan hits that shot, just runs down the court like shrugging?
Yes.
Like that's Jake. That's Steak Gelof right now.
That's right. All right. So Brad Malm's got 11, University of Albany. We got Brad Bombs for him. That we'll continue to play with that. But Brad Bombs is growing on me, to be honest. Yep. Tommy
That's
White,
good.
Tommy Tanks. That's locked in.
He's back. He
is back. That's right. 2 bombs in a game on Sunday. Andrew Cassetti, a new entry, St. Joseph's Hawks, Philadelphia Big Five. He's going to be the hammer and hawk, Andrew Cassetti, and I like seeing him on this list.
Yeah,
now,
okay.
Derek Orndorff of Liberty, he's at 10, so he's Mr. Wonderful. That's locked and loaded.
How about Derek the Destroyer?
Nope, Mr. Wonderful. I put it in ink. Sorry, KR.
Mr. Wonderful.
Yes.
It works.
Yeah. Now, if Derek the Destroyer, stuff like that, you want to keep coming with it, KR, I'm down. Like, I'm always open, but it's going to have to take down Mr. Wonderful, which is an 80s wrestling reference. That's pretty strong. I mean,
you gave him a Matumbo right there. Like, you were in no mood for Derek the Destroyer.
No mood. We're not in a mood. We are not in a mood.
I like a little Monday night swagger.
That's right. All right. Now, boys, here's where I need your help. Okay, so we've got 2 more gentlemen that need to be accounted for. Dakota Katowski of Missouri State has 10 bombs. He's a large human. He's 6'5", 245. I've got a poll on Twitter too for anybody that wants to join in the reindeer games. So, boys, here's your 3 choices. Dakota Katowski. Hashtag Dak bombs. That's what Missouri State's been going with.
All right.
Hashtag the Polish Hammer. Remember
Ooh.
Ivan Putski, another 80s wrestling reference.
I kind of like that. I like
the Polish Hammer. And then hashtag the Big Katowski.
That's the winner. That's the winner. The Big Katowski is the winner.
So far, the internet agrees with you, Fitzy. KR,
I kind of like the Polish Hammer.
I like them both. I can't decide.
Anytime you can mix like ethnic references with power, I like it.
Yeah, but the Big Lebowski is a pretty good parallel too.
That is good. That is really good.
Yeah. All right. Good.
They're all better than Mr. Wonderful.
Derek the Destroyer is taking it out on poor Mr. Wonderful right now. All right. So here's the other one. This one, I feel kind of badly because this kid has a nickname from long ago, but we may have to override it. And just sorry, that's just
Okay, go for
it's
it.
not personal. It's just business.
Okay.
All right. So this is Matthew Ellis of Indiana. He's also got double-digit bombs. He's also very large, 6'4", 240.
He's good.
Yeah. So his nickname from the past is Big Country. If you remember Bryant Reeves from
Big
Oklahoma
Country
State.
Reeves, absolutely.
Yeah. So that's pretty
Okay.
good.
Yeah,
But-
so I've seen him in person. That fits. Like he's just a big strapping dude in the box.
He is.
But-
He's
but
a-
I-
He's the Griffin Dorshing of Bloomington.
Thank you.
But I don't love recycling old nicknames. It's like
Yeah.
Ding, ding, ding,
for
ding.
me that's an issue.
Yeah. So, having said that, Fitzy, let me give you 3 other options besides Big Country. Hashtag, remember his name's Matthew Ellis. Hashtag Matthew Grande. Got that?
No,
in
but
there.
he's from Indiana. That doesn't
Yeah,
really
well,
fit.
funny you say that, KR. Now, this one comes to us from Coach Farron. So, IU, Bloomington, Indiana. So,
Okay.
hashtag the B-Town Basher is a submission from Coach Farron.
Don't love it.
Yeah, the internet has not loved it either. It's in last place. Sorry, Coach Farron. And then the 4th option is hashtag Matty Deep Sauce. So
Okay.
your options are that was kind of just getting out there. Get
That's-
extension on that one.
That's
Big
it.
Yeah, Big Country, Matthew Grande, the B-Town Basher, Matty Deep Sauce.
I'm going Matty Deep Sauce. I'm feeling it.
KR?
I guess Matty Deep Sauce.
Again,
kind
KR,
of
emptying your conviction right now.
yeah, I'm like a 20. I'm like a 25 conviction on pretty much all these names.
Yeah, that's okay. You can
uh,
sleep on it. We don't have to
I
rush into
like
anything.
some sort of like combination of like Matt and the Marauder, something like that.
All right, we'll get to work, man. Workshop it. We're
Okay,
all about
hold on.
workshopping it up.
You
around here.
guys do the podcast. I'm gonna
Kendall.
figure this out.
Kendall, you're a one-trick pony with just this alliteration. It's just like
You
Derek
like
the
this?
Destroyer, Matt the
Gosh.
Marauder. You need to branch out.
Segment 1, we've already
I like
gone
illustrating
alliteration. I like
power,
it.
Aaron.
Thank you for that. All right, boys. Hey, we're going turbo round. So anyway,
Okay.
that's the edict. If you want to be in the home run race in college baseball this year, mandatory power hashtag, no exceptions. We're here to help. So, and we do have a fun home run race going on so far.
Can I
KR?
interject real quick? I kind of
sure can.
like what Will Marston is suggesting here.
Right. Yeah.
I like that.
That one's been out there. That one's been out there for
I like
sure.
that better than State Gelof.
I mean, and I think Brett Gelof is very good, but State
Yeah.
Gelof to me is again
Yeah.
because not many guys hit the bull. Not
Yeah,
many
that's
guys
true.
hit
The
ball.
story around it kind of makes it better.
I mean, the fact that you get 3 games at that ballpark. They're not playing the ACC tournament there. It's not very many chances to hit the ball, and he did it. I just think that's pretty cool.
That is pretty neat.
All right, so this is a perfect segue. Thank you, gentlemen. So one of the things I thought was really fun from last weekend is just we have some really fun player stuff going on right now. He did not get the stake, Will, because that's a NCAA violation.
I would have thought with the new NLI stuff that changed. No.
No, because the
No, 'cause it's
NIL
not
is not a
sanctioned.
gift. Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, you got to
So-
get your compliance has to approve it. So I guess
What I
if they
said on the
call
air,
compliance-
Fitzy, is that writers and broadcasters should be like Jake Gelof should be able to gift one of us the stake. Like that should be in
Yeah.
play.
I like that.
But
Yeah, Jay Gelof can't get the stake, but a football player can get $8 million under an exchange. So that makes a lot of sense.
very logical. That's the world we live in.
Listen, they got great steak down at the Marriott downtown Durham. I mean, you know, like it's only the best.
Kind of like the Drover, a little Drover-esque.
Yeah, exactly.
They do have hipster beers. We know that. All right, boys. So here's what I want you to pick from. So there's some really cool player stuff going on right now. So let me give you 4 things that caught my eye this weekend. One is Sonny dichiara. You were there,
man.
Fitzy, of Auburn. This the dude has got some crazy Italian song that he comes out to. The fans go crazy. So that's Sonny D is, I heard him referred to as a right-handed John Kruk. He's a large man. It's not a swimsuit body. We love him for it. So he's fun. Okay, so that's number 1.
Like a scout invoked the name of the great Bob Hamlin. We're talking about him this weekend. Former American League
good.
Rookie of the Year, if I recall.
That's good too.
So,
That's really good.
yeah.
All right,
You got to
so
love Sonny D.
he's the best. So he's choice 1. Choice 2, Jacob Wilson. I've never heard of this before. Jacob Wilson last weekend had a stretch where he went 18 for 22 in baseball. 18 for 22. If you did that in basketball, people would be flipping out. He had 10 straight hits at one point. That's
that is
Jack
really good.
Wilson's son. Yeah, that's That's
So here's a question. So I'm gonna interject here. So here's a
please.
question. He had all those hits and he had a huge weekend offensively, but he also had 4 errors over the weekend.
Did he really?
Does that cancel him from a player of the week discussion
It's
as an infielder?
no, I don't think it does because that offense is such a joke. But
Yeah.
that's mind-boggling. That's not who
Yeah.
he is defensively.
That's a
He's
weird weekend.
really weird. Yeah, it's almost like somebody like kidnapped him or something. He's a great defender. Like he's the purest thrower of the baseball I've seen at shortstop in like 5-10 years. Like it just I
Really?
need to dig into those errors because that's not him. Boy, he's
Hmm.
such a good defender. So not a great athlete, by the way.
High
He's not
praise.
fast, but a great defender. Again, that's Jack Wilson, the former Pirates son. All right, so we talked about Jake Gelof just going off and just the whole persona. Here's the other one I wanted to mention. Peter Allegro, the closer for Portland,
Mm-hmm.
after he closes the save, he does a backflip on the field.
Oh, that was good.
Wasn't that good?
That was good. They talked about this at length on the shock factor today. So
nice.
We don't need to spend much time on that one, but that was cool. And
really cool.
I was surprised they didn't mention this. There was a really neat, I think it was Wake Forest had a great post game closer and catcher coordinated dance.
Oh yeah, yeah.
It was like a little hip
Adler did it, right?
I thought
was it Minacci or
Oh,
Adler?
you know
Minacci did the psycho look on
he
Tom
kind of
Walter.
he looked into Tommy Walter's soul.
Yeah.
That's right.
It was Tommy or Corey Muscara. I can't remember, but yeah,
I can't either.
That was good stuff.
You're right, but the little shimmy dance
like
at the end.
It was like the little Three
Excellent.
Amigos hip thrust.
Yeah.
Yes, very good. So what would you guys pick? What would you of those notions that we've just thrown out there? What's your favorite right now?
I'm going to go first because I want to talk about Sonny because I was at Auburn this weekend and it was just so fun. It was so fun. Like you said, Butch had a great quote about it, about how, this guy's been here 5 minutes and he's already won the walk-up song. He's put all these other kids to shame. It's like, you let this kid come in here and win the walk-up song.
Just take your lunch.
He's got that place wrapped around his finger. When he comes up, they're all it's just the happiest. It's like, and I tweeted this, but it reminds me of 2013, the Red Sox, where they just kind of came out of nowhere to win it all. Mm-hmm. And Shane Victorino walked up to Three Little Birds by Bob Marley. And every time I went to a random a game there in the dog days of August. And every time he came up, and this game went 15 innings and we're in hour 5. And all the fans perk up. They're singing along. Every little thing is going to be all right, And it's like that with Sonny. Every time he comes up, it's like, oh, here he comes. Your eyes kind of open up, and then he hits the ball 450 feet. He did it twice this weekend, Thursday and Friday. And just with the way he's built, and apparently he's got a larger than life personality. He's a guy I really want to speak with, because he just sounds like a character. So he's awesome right now. I think he's just captivated a lot of people.
Yeah, and the thing I like about him too is he's not just some guy that goes up there just mashing balls. He happens to mash balls, but at Globe Life, I mean, he hit 1 home run, but otherwise, it was all doubles, and extra base hits. He can find holes. He's not just a home run hitter.
Yeah, he's fun. He is going to be fun. And even Auburn's kind of off the radar, he pulls him back on the radar. I love that. Hey, I got one for you guys I didn't mention. I tweeted it, of course, but so Chris Newell, Newtown Square, we get it, right? I've talked about him nearly every podcast, but cool thing, his nephew, Danny, who looks like he's 7 years old, came to a game this weekend at UVA. Chris Newell hit the walk-off home run against Boston College. So you can imagine you have a cousin who's this larger than life figure. So Chris Newell hits the walk-off home run, and his little cousin, Danny Newell, gets to witness it. After the game, they give the ball to Chris, and Chris gives the game ball to his cousin, 7-year-old cousin, Danny. And they said Danny was just bawling. He was so it was, it was just that's college baseball, right? Those cool moments like that where, little Danny Newell will never forget that as long as he lives.
Awesome.
So good on you, Chris Newell.
Speaking of great college baseball moments, I was watching LSU and A&M the other day, and I think it's Lynn Rollins. I want to say his name is the guy.
He's the best. He's
the
best.
So Lynn Rollins and Ben McDonald, I swear to God, had a 15-minute conversation about ways to prepare chicken feet. So I told Ben last night, or I told Ben on Saturday night, that my goal is in Hoover is for him to bring chicken feet that his mother-in-law cooks and have KP try it.
That ain't happening.
Good luck with that.
KP, yeah, but what'd you say? You got to put bacon on it, right, for KP to get in the mix.
Exactly. So just wrap it in bacon and say it's chicken. Like, don't tell him it's chicken feet. Just kind of wrap it tightly so he can't.
The amount of
it.
money you'd have to pay me to eat chicken feet is probably it's like Division I quarterback NIL money right now. Like it's gonna have to be life changing. Not doing it.
I can say I can honestly say I've never had chicken feet. I've like tasted cow tongue before.
Man, not in on that either. Thank you.
I've eaten a grub in the Amazon, so I've got you guys beat.
Oh, that's
how was that, Fitzy?
Not great.
Not great, Bob. Hopefully, it's not on the menu this evening. Oh, boys!
What grade would you give it?
No, that's like a 0 grade of the 2080 scale.
I think they call that a one-timer, is what they call that. Boys, here's what I want to. Here I got a question for you. So one of the things when you look at the rankings this week, to me, is that the first 6 teams stand out. Like it feels like there's a loud front 6 right now. And so here's my question for you. So the 6 is 1 Ole Miss, 2 Texas, 3 Arkansas, 4 Vandy, 5 Tennessee, 6 Oregon State. You can go anywhere you want with this, but I'm going to ask the question this way. Of those 6 teams, who's got the biggest upside? I'm just going to leave it right there. Who's got the biggest upside of those 6 teams?
Kendall, you could take this first because I know we're right where you're going.
I got to go with Tennessee. I mean, the word right now is that Blade Tidwell's coming back in like 3 to 4 weeks.
Mm-hmm.
Assuming that happens, you're talking about a rotation with Blade Tidwell, Drew Beam, Chase Burns with that offense and that bullpen, which all of a sudden now has 4 or 5 very legitimate options with a lot of experience. I mean, if you look at Tennessee, like if he comes back, where is the weakness? Where is there a weakness?
I don't have an answer for you. I don't know if there is a weakness or not, but I will say this. I mean, it's a little hard to tell for sure that they have no weakness given the schedule they've played.
Yeah, but I mean, they did well at Shriners. I may be wrong here, but I'm pretty sure Georgia Southern's kind of turned it on a little bit since.
Yeah, Georgia Southern's 13-6. They're 13-3.
Okay. No, they've played a lot better since. Okay. But I'll say this. I'm gonna piggyback on this. I will say Arkansas is starting to intrigue me even more. Like, they're obviously intriguing because we had them in the top 2 preseason, but like the fact that like Jackson Wiggins is actually being pretty consistent, like that's a game changer for me. Like that's all of a sudden a really good rotation considering Connor Nolan's been really good. And so for me, it'd be Tennessee, but Arkansas obviously is in that mix too. They're playing pretty well right now.
They're so deep on the mound. I mean, if you look at how many guys they've got who've made appearances and have ERAs under 4 right now. It's like I can't even keep them all on one screen. It's so many guys. Like they're really, they've got a deep pitching staff and they're using that depth. And Hagen Smith and Peyton Stovall have kind of settled in as those kind of dynamic freshmen that we thought they would be. There's a question here in our chat about Michael Turner and Chris Lanzilli. Are we surprised at how good they're being? No, I'm not. I mean, we were all over these guys in the fall, I mean, they were hitting, Turner in like the 3-hole or cleanup and even in fall scrimmage. It's like they clearly were all in on this guy. We've talked about him for years since he was at Kent State. I still don't know how he's still in college because I think he's a good defender too. But Lanzilli, I kind of thought like, you're getting an actual guy who's been an All-American. He's an established All-American in a power conference. That's a pretty impactful transfer. And so, I kind of thought he might find some new life in this new atmosphere. So those guys have made a big difference. But that's not an answer to your question, Runes. Is it my turn to answer the question?
Please. Yes, sir.
I think it might be Vanderbilt.
Ooh, didn't see that coming.
Yeah, I mean, Vanderbilt feels really balanced because they're 17-2 now. Remember they lost that series that first weekend to Oklahoma State. They haven't lost since. And granted, again,
that's right. They haven't lost since.
You talk about
what is that, like 14 in a row or something?
It's strange, but Vanderbilt is like kind of quietly winning a lot of games. Yep. But you know what I mean? Like nobody's really we're not talking about them a lot. Just their schedule hasn't been great.
Not winning a lot of games, Kendall. Winning every game. Yeah. They haven't. Yeah. Did you say they haven't lost since opening weekend? I had no idea. 16 in a row. But I mean, it's Army, it's Hawaii, it's Wagner. Wow. And then a midweeker against Michigan, and then they sweep Missouri, which is the worst team in the SEC. So like it's kind of like Tennessee. I don't want to get too carried away with just their record, but
they have, again, a lot of guys with track records in that lineup. Like I really, I think we all thought this was going to be a really good offensive team. And that first weekend they kind of scuffled a little bit, but I still really like that offense. And I just think with the way that that Carter Holton's pitching and the way that Chris McIlvaine has pitched and Nick Maldonado and just again the depth of that staff. I mean, I think that's the one people are kind of sleeping on.
That's a good call. I like where you guys' heads at. So let me make a couple comments. Carter Young, you keep hearing these rumors that he's getting healthier and starting to click in, because I think he's a first-round pick when he's right. But it doesn't feel like he's been right since the shoulder injury. I saw him in the first half of the 2021 season, and you're sitting there thinking, like, this is like a spectacular defender who's like 15 to 20 home runs in college. Like, that's a first-round pick. He's a switch hitter too, by the way, and a really good athlete. And so he's starting to get healthy. I think one of the keys to Mississippi State's national title run last year was Will Bednar did not have to make 18 starts, right? Like, he kind of got to, like, I think he was fresher than everybody else at the end. And his Tennessee got a Blade Tidwell in that. Because Tennessee, like, I think you could make an argument that, hey, are they playing too good too soon? Are they this year's Arkansas, where you just kind of, you hit your peak immediately? Because here's the thing about Tennessee, like, it is 2 freshmen and a transfer in that rotation, but they've been ridiculous, right? So maybe that doesn't even matter. So, and then you mentioned Arkansas, KR. I think it's spot on. Like, talking to Dave Van Horn, he's just like, man, we're all over the map offensively. Like, he feels like it's one guy a day plays good. If we could just get 4 or 5 going on the same day, but their pitching's more consistent. So I would pick Arkansas, because I think they have just won. They haven't played great yet, but man, I any of these 6 teams, they're all kind of fun right now. Which we haven't
even talked about Texas, who was the consensus preseason number 1. And I know losing Tanner Witt changes the dynamic, and then they had that little rough patch there where they lost, what was it, 4 of 5 and 6 of 7, something like that. I mean, they had a little rough patch there because it kind of coincided with the Witt thing, but they're still really talented and really good. And Ole Miss is the team that's currently number 1, and we didn't mention them either. So the fact that we have and in Oregon State, you mentioned 6 teams, Runes, at Oregon State at number 6. The fact that we have this many teams that we can have this discussion about and there's no clear answer tells you a lot about the state of college baseball this year.
Yeah, pretty fun.
Yeah, it is fun.
Like Tennessee has what, Ole Miss and Vandy the next 2 weeks?
Yeah, pretty good.
How about that?
Yeah, how about like you could make an argument that Tennessee and Vandy. I'm not making this argument, but I'm saying somebody could make a sound argument that the top 2 programs in college baseball right now are Tennessee and Vandy. And how cool is that they're like, in-state rivals? Yeah, I mean, it's crazy. Like they're fighting over Tennessee players. So hey, let me change gears on you guys. So these 3 teams to me are very intriguing, and they're similar. And I'm just going to give them to you, and I'll give you a question. So the 3 teams that I'm talking about are LSU, Louisville, and Oregon. And what I think they have in common is that dynamic offenses, but the rest of them is really, you're still trying to figure them out. Like, maybe not LSU. Maybe I'm being too kind. Maybe we've got them figured out. Like, run prevention, big problem. But neither of these 3 teams feels like an elite run prevention outfit. So here's the thing. Like, can you get off? Can you just be lopsided in who your team is and go deep? What order would you put those 3 teams in? I think the order is going to be revealing, just as far as, again, we're talking like stocks and bonds now, like long-term play. Who's the play of those 3 teams? What do you think, KR?
It's a great question. I would say Louisville. I feel like Louisville right now is probably the best overall team of those 3. Like, the problem I have with LSU is this: in that league, they're not only playing just bad defense from a fielding percentage standpoint, like they're not covering bases, they're not showing good angles to balls in the outfield. Like they're doing like no-brainer plays badly, and they're not making plays that result in errors. So there's a play last night against A&M where the ball's like rolling to first base. Mikael Hilliard, the guy's been there forever, And like the ball's clearly going to stay in play, and like he just lets the runner run by and doesn't get the ball, and the guy takes first. So like they just have so many little things that I just don't see, but them just all of a sudden flipping a switch and they don't do it anymore because they've been doing it for 5 weeks now. So I'm pretty down on LSU right now. I feel like they have a long way to go. And guess what? They go to Gainesville this weekend. That's not the place you want to go if you're trying to right the ship.
Yeah. The other team gets 30 outs when they play LSU. That's scary. That's a scary way to live, right? Like you get 27, they get 30. That's not good. That's
Yeah,
not.
well, I mean, Jacob Berry. So Jacob Berry played third, and again, like I'm not trying to bag on the guy, but like he played third the other day. They had a routine ground ball. Well, I would say routine. He had to back up a couple of steps, but he didn't set his feet right. He threw the airmailed the ball over to first. Yesterday, he played in right field, which is kind of interesting. We had the discussion in our chat, the three of us, about how some scouts kind of feel like Jacob Berry might be able to play right field. Well, he played right field on Sunday and like misjudged a couple of balls just badly. So I I'm hesitating to like be remotely bullish on those guys right now. And that's probably not fair, but
I will say this, you can learn with reps. You can
yeah,
learn to read balls better in the outfield. You can't really learn actions. You got them in the infield. I mean, right, Runes? I mean, well, you can
Yeah.
you can improve, but like if you can't play the infield, you can't play the infield. I mean,
Yeah.
ultimately, but
The
you
ground
can.
balls he's going to field are just going to get harder, right? Like the
That's right.
ball, the exit velocity is going to increase. Yeah, like Jacob, I would say this, like Kyle, being a Phillies fan, right? Kyle Schwarber is, like he's no better or worse a defender than Jacob Berry, I would think, right? And like I think Jacob Berry's going to have a great big league career, just like Kyle Schwarber has. But defense is never going to be his thing, just not.
It's like I think Sipes had it pegged all along. It's Bobby Bonilla.
Yeah,
I mean,
there
like
you go.
Bobby Bonilla was never in the lineup for his defense, whether he played third base or right field. He was in there because he was a switch hitter who could mash,
Yep,
and is
very
still getting
good.
paid to this day.
Yeah. Hey, Kendall, you alluded to Louisville, yeah, which is that's so great. Louisville is interesting because if you look closely, they don't play good defense either. Louisville plays better defense than LSU, but they're just not. They're
that's
just
not hard
not.
to
Yeah, they're not. Thank
do.
you. They're not wired to play good defense. Like that's just not. It's just not who they're going to be. I don't think.
Yeah.
They're. I don't. It's not going to be atrocious either, but Louisville's pitching is improving. It's kind of sneaky getting better. Prosecki's settling in as closer. Here's the thing. Jared Poland's had 2 elite starts in a row.
Yeah.
If he's going to be a real dude, that my whole impression of Louisville right now is changing and changing fast. I don't. Are you on board with that, Fitzy?
Yeah, that's huge. That is, I mean, heading into the season, that's exactly what they were kind of. The question mark is can these guys, these third, fourth year guys who've been around, that have teased you, and I even heard a scout use that word. I think this weekend he was talking about Prosecco. Like, yeah, he's teased you in the past, but like he's, it seems like now it's come together, right? It's up to, I think it's up to 96.
Mhm.
It's like power stuff from the left side without a lot of effort. The only thing is it's a little like Brandon Sproat where it's like 96, but you can kind of see a little bit. It's
Yep.
not. It's a little. I would say a little bit light for 96. So he still has to be able to pitch with the other stuff. But he's done that. He's thrown strikes and Poland. Boy, I mean, how many times have we all seen this guy in a quick look and it's like, whoa, I mean, I remember
Hmm.
seeing him 3 years ago or something. It feels like forever ago because of the pandemic, but it's like coming out of the bullpen and he's playing a position and he just like position player on the mound. He's pumping 95 with a hammer and it's just running on pure adrenaline. And then you try to stretch him out and it's just, you got to learn the pitchability if you're going to try to get through the lineup multiple times. And I think that it's reasonable to expect him, to take some time to figure that out as a converted position player guy. And
Hmm.
now he is. It really feels like I'm buying on this one. I think he's real. And I do believe that, those guys emerging, among others, I mean, they've got plenty of decent pieces on the mound there. I think I'm with Kendall on this. I think that's the team. I wanted to say Oregon because I really think Oregon's intriguing, Runes, but I mean, you've mentioned it in our discussions. There are question marks about them on the mound, as good as I think their
Yeah.
offense is.
Yeah. Oregon's, so the rotation is Andrew Mosiello he's got a back thing, and so they're not sure when they're going to get him back. And he started out the season really poorly, which is unlike him. So probably the back had a little something to do with that. It's Caleb Sloan is their Friday night guy, just break the glass in case of emergency type of thing. Isaac Ion is he was a middle reliever last year, so he's pitching on Saturdays. So yeah, they're mixing and matching, but their offense has been real. And by the way, they're in first place in the Pac-12 right now. I mean, after losing those 3 games to San Diego, week 1, Oregon has gotten really viable offensively. It's a deep lineup. And I would say this, Kendall, like your analogy on Arizona last year is the one I'm clinging to if I'm an LSU fan, that they're not as veteran. How do I say it? Like that Arizona team just cling to an identity very quickly where, hey, messy games, we're in, right? Who cares if we make errors? We're just going to win anyway. I feel like LSU hasn't figured that out yet. They're more like they make errors and it bothers them. But I think they can get through that. Now, can you get to Omaha playing that way? I don't know. That's a different animal. So we'll see.
One guy that's kind of interesting about Louisville, Ben Metzinger and Cam Masterman had really good weekends. But have you guys checked out Christian Knapsik's numbers for Louisville?
Huge.
427, 16 walks, 8 strikeouts, 11 stolen bases. And oh, by the way, he's been hit 8 times.
Love it. And Jack Payton's having a big year, Mark's little brother. So they got those 2 Chicago kids kind of like, that's the thing about Louisville this year that's so fun. It's like old school Louisville. They got Chicago kids with the big edge and the attitude, and they're very athletic. They look like a Division I kickoff team.
I love the way they play. Like when they hit home runs, like, it's like there's some teams that may not like the charade, but I kind of like the swagger a little bit.
But it goes back to what we've talked about with this program for years. Is it's the player development stuff. It's guys who've been waiting for their turn. I mean, Logan Beard is having a good year. I think he redshirted last year. Masterman was kind of a program guy, an older guy who's figured it out. And Metzinger, I mean, he's kind of like the backup catcher when he came in. Then he wound up at third base, and Mac's been saying this guy's gonna hit. He's gonna hit, and now he's got 9 home runs. I mean, Peyton kind of like. They liked him, but it took him a little time. And Knapsik was very good last year, but he wasn't this. I mean, his numbers now are bonkers. And for a smaller guy, I mean, I think Mac even might have compared him when he first came in to like a Devin Hairston, but he's driving the ball a lot more than Devin Hairston ever did. So I think there's a lot more upside there with the bat.
Yeah, and they lived with Knapczyk last year. It was pretty ugly at times. And so I think Mac, Dan McDonald being rewarded for, they just kind of threw Knapczyk out there at shortstop, and we're going to figure it out. And the defensive challenges were immense last year. It's still not awesome this year, but you're right, Fitzy. The offense he's given them is incredible. Hey, let's do some updates. So I wanted to give a couple of Luis Ramirez of Long Beach State, after missing a start, made a start, and he was excellent. Huge sigh of relief for all of college baseball. That's awesome. And that makes Long Beach State very interesting long term.
Yes.
And I just want to throw this out here. The Missouri Valley is the number 5 ranked RPI conference right now. They've got state secrets. Like the Missouri Valley has conquered the RPI. They've got like a secret batch of computers in Albuquerque or something. They've got it figured out. So if anybody needs RPI help, you need to call the MVC commissioner's office.
That is wild. This is a recurring theme.
They've just slayed it. They own the RPI. So I wanted to mention that. KR, you did a tweet about William Kempner, right? It was good news, bad news, or mostly good news? What was the news?
He has like an inflamed tendon sheath. Like I was talking to pitching coach Brandon Harmon earlier, and he said that like scouts have heard about it, but he said that like he has never really seen it. So yeah, he has like an inflamed middle finger, and like it's basically one of those things like they're just waiting for it to go away. But it's kind of interesting. I was talking to somebody close to the Oklahoma State program, and granted David Seifert, had a report on William Kempner. But they were kind of like, hey, like if that guy's healthy, like it's crazy, like with his arm slut, how hard he's able to pitch and how good he's able to pitch. They kind of thought that like Gonzaga is a legitimate Omaha team if they can just get their regional. Like they're better set up for Omaha and a super than they are an actual regional. But it sounds like he's really, really good.
Yeah, low slot, throws the crap
100. Out of it. He topped out at 100 and still hard.
Incredible. Hey, last update, guys. Like if you watch the Georgia Mississippi State game on Saturday, KP and Dave Neal did the game. They interviewed Landon Sims in the middle of the game. He had his brace on. He had his surgery last Wednesday. One of the best player interviews I've ever seen. Landon Sims first round pick, no doubt about it. Incredible kid, like the modesty, the humility, the personality. He was amazing. Anybody that's got access to that on ESPN.com, you go back and watch the replay. It's so worth it. This kid, like $1 million kid, $10 million arm. Like it was so encouraging. He was so incredible. Good for you, Landon Sims. I mean, just not surprised at all. Kind of hearing him speak that way, not surprised at all what he accomplished on the field when he was healthy. Just incredible. Great sense of humor too, by the way. Hey boys, let's do two more things real quickly. I want a hipster beer in Fitzy's hand by 9:16. Fitzy, so we had to decide between Stanford. I'll let you take this one. We had to decide between Stanford at 9-7 and UConn at 14-3 this week. I don't know, 60 seconds or less. Why'd we pick UConn?
Well, we're 5 weeks into the season now, and I just think it's at this point, if you're 9-7 after 5 weeks and you've lost back-to-back series in conference, you're sitting 1-4 in the pack. I mean, it's just kind of time to make a bigger adjustment. And they were number 12 last week, and I get that's a big drop. In the first couple of weeks, we're hesitant to drop a team quite that far. I mean, we still have teams that dropped a lot. Like the week that we left Mississippi State in, I think they dropped from like 8 to 24 or something like that, or 25. Like it's still a 12 or 13 spot drop. But like, now we got 5 weeks. We got enough body of work here. And the thing is, they lost both those games this weekend in ways that I think exposed what is right now looks like their fatal flaw, which is their bullpen can't be trusted. They had the lead in both those games. They're having to ride their starters a lot because they can't protect the lead in the bullpen. And so Arizona came back on them twice. UConn just deserves so much credit because they've gone out there and they lose their top of the draft talent before the season even gets started. They have to play every game on the road. At the time we ranked them, they were 14-3. They since lost today at the series finale at UC San Diego, but they're 14-3. They played one game, within 1,000 miles of Storrs, Connecticut. They played all their games in California and Florida, and it just against quality competition, Pepperdine and USC, FIU. They beat Louisville early. They beat USF. I mean, they've just done what they need to do, and I think right now they're putting themselves in position. I think with all those road games and with the success they had in the non-conference, if they can control the Big East the way I think we all expect them to, they put themselves in position to host.
Yeah. KR, you're going to take us home with something. By the way, there's just this flurry of Southern non-Power Fives that are having great years. I think about Texas State, South Alabama, USM, Southern Miss, Troy, Florida Gulf Coast is off to a great start. Really cool. Some of these teams that when they're good, they're really good. It reminds me of like Stetson in 2018 where, these teams, when it all clicks and they're old, they're not a team you want to see in the postseason. KR, I got 3 series this weekend that are just of enormous proportions. There's more, but I'm just going to give you these 3. I want you to pick one or do what you want with these. Texas at Texas Tech, the Vols at Ole Miss, Virginia at Wake Forest. I mean, those are 3 marquee series right there. What's top of mind for you?
Well, Tennessee, Ole Miss, obviously, but I'm going to let somebody else break that down. I've talked enough about Tennessee. Texas Tech and Texas for me. I just think when you look at Texas Tech, that was a team that, opening weekend at Globe Life, they didn't look great. But they've played much better since then. Granted, they haven't played the best competition since then, but they're getting more production top to bottom offensively. Brandon Birtle's kind of coming his own a little bit. He had a really good start a couple of weeks ago. And so that's really interesting when you look at Tech playing in Lubbock. And then Texas is kind of a way to kind of restore order a little bit. They had the bad series of South Carolina. They returned to normal against Incarnate Word, but it was UIW. So that's a big test for Texas. But, historically in the last decade, Texas has played really, really well in Lubbock. So I think that's going to be an absolute battle.
Yep. I'll tell you, like Ole Miss and Tennessee, it's like a battle for number 1 at some point. Like this is one of these teams is, like the number 1 ranking is going to be in play for both these teams. And this is going to be a series we're going to be referencing. To me, Wake Forest and Virginia, I feel like at the end of the year, these guys are going to be running for stuff like either, a postseason bid, a hosting opportunity. And I feel like this is a series that's going to be referenced. Like this is a real add to your credibility, add to your resume series for both these clubs. And so you're going to be at some. Oh, go ahead, KR.
Well, can I admit that I'm actually starting to like buy Wake stock a little bit? Like I'm surprised that I am, but I tell you what, like the rotation's solid. Like they've got 2 or 3 really good options in the bullpen, and their offense is really good. Like they're a well-rounded club.
It's the Eric Adler shimmy after he closes a game. That's what
Well, that's
sold you,
what
KR.
that exactly. That was kind of the final straw.
Fitzy, you're going to be in a little bit of that, right?
Yeah, I haven't figured out exactly how I'm going to break up the weekend once again, but yeah, certainly that's on my agenda. I still haven't seen NC State, so on the weekends, we need to get over there. They got Georgia Tech in a really important series for the Wolfpack. They've lost 3 straight series now. And they were in that game against Florida State for what did it go 18 innings or 17? Anyway. They need to bounce back, and then we got. I'm kind of intrigued by Stetson at Liberty, a big series in the A Sun. That's not too far, so I'll be bouncing around once again.
Charlotte's at ODU, not ODU at Charlotte, right?
That's correct.
Yeah, got it. Hey, Fitzy, let's wrap on this. You're in Nashville. You're gonna have dinner with the lovely Virginia Fit tonight. What are we like the entree? Do we have a preconceived notion on the entree, or are we just gonna go in there and just see what inspires us?
It's 9:15, and I've been driving for 6 hours. I'm just glad they're open. I'll eat whatever they got.
Even if it's grubs?
No.
Bring it on. Chicken feet.
Grubs.
There we go.
No, we're not doing chicken feet. Oh gosh, Lynn Rollins. The fact that we had a Lynn Rollins reference on this podcast brings me great joy. Well done, KR.
He's got the best voice in college baseball. Awesome stories, and he's just a nice gentleman. If you ever met him before, he's
that
wonderful.
is I wish my voice was like that.
Hey, by the way, are you guys familiar with this home run call?
Yes.
Kendall, he says, pucker up and kiss that baby goodbye. So good. Oh, perfect ending. All right, everyone. Thank you for listening. Great stuff. We will be back Thursday night. We're going to go back to the live streams for Thursday night weekend previews. That was awesome. We appreciate it. And that's it. Fitzy, have a great dinner. Everybody have a great week, and we will talk to you Thursday night.